Let me tell you something about the Detroit Lions, all right? I saw people online that were like, oh, look, the Ravens are going to get the ball back in a one-possession game, and how does Lamar always have these positions where he can come back to win the game? No. You know what Dan Campbell's going to do? Dan Campbell's going to take his wheelbarrow with his big nuts, and he's going to just drag them all over your face, fourth downs every time for the win. I apologize for that visual that I just gave you, but the point is the Lions win 38-30 over the Baltimore Ravens on Monday Night Football. Wow, what a game! That had me fired up, dude. That game was electric. What a game between two of the NFL's best. They were going back and forth all night. Both teams could have won this easily, and the Lions just were unbelievable on offense. The defensive front came to play. Secondary admittedly had some problems. Terrion Arnold is going to get some heat this week, but it's a lot easier to take the heat when you win, all right? And the Lions get a big statement win in Baltimore on Monday night. Let's talk about it. But before we do, if I could get you to hit that like button and subscribe with notifications turned on, we are hunting down 300 subscribers, and for a small channel, that is quite a big deal. So it takes 3 seconds, hit like and subscribe, and I would really appreciate it. And also, y'all got to tune into the streams during these games because, oh my lord, that was a ton of fun watching this game unfold live out there with you guys. Unbelievable. Ton of fun. We'll be live for every single Lions game this year, so make sure you don't miss the one against Cleveland next week. Anyways, enough of my yapping. Let's get into it. I really said enough of my yapping when you're actually waiting for me to keep yapping just about things you actually care about. So on to the game. Now, admittedly, coming into this game, I thought the Ravens were going to win. I thought that the Lions didn't have a good shot because the Ravens are a very bad mismatch for their defense. At least on paper, they are. And for as much problems as the Ravens offense gave the Lions in this game, defense held firm. Now, in the first half, that is thanks in large part to the offense, actually, but we'll talk about that in a second. So, first drive, the Lions, they go down the field on a nice 6-7 minute drive, taking time off the clock. Gibbs, the running game is okay, but the passing game's going. Jameson Williams, a couple of nice catches. Actually, those were his only catches on the night today, weren't they? Anyways, Lions get down there. They get in the end zone to open the scoring. 7-0, we're feeling good. But then the Ravens come out and they're running the ball well. Derrick Henry's doing his thing. Lamar Jackson's doing his thing with his legs. And then Henry breaks one for 28 yards and a score. And that ties the game up at 7. Then we have this weird little back and forth. You know, teams are trading punts. And anytime the Lions punted in this game, I felt horrible. But then the defense answered. They held the Ravens in check. The Lions get the ball back, but they get the ball back at their own 2-yard line. And I'm just going to flag it. Khalif Raymond, you got to be better on punt returns. I know you're better than that. Come on, be better. So the Lions start on their own 2-yard line. And, you know, when you start a drive this deep in your own territory, you would be content with just getting a first down. And the Lions get a first down to end the first quarter. A nice conversion to Sam Laporta. And at that point, I'm like, okay, you get some field position back. You can win the field position battle a little bit. You're not dead in the water if you get stopped here. For the Lions, though, that wasn't good enough. No, you see, the Lions decided that not only were they going to go on a long drive, they were going to go on a 98-yard touchdown drive. And they weren't just going to go on a 98-yard touchdown drive. They were going to take 11 minutes off the clock. An absolute behemoth of a drive. One of the best drives the Lions have had, honestly, in a long time. You keep Lamar Jackson off the field. You get in the end zone. David Montgomery was unbelievable on that drive. Jahmyr Gibbs had a couple nice runs, and the Lions were just clicking on offense. They take a 14-7 lead. Now, on the next drive, this is where trouble was starting to brew because Terrion Arnold gets beat for a big play that sets the Ravens up inside the 5. And now I've defended Terrion Arnold a lot, all right? And I still will defend him to some degree, but I can't lie. He had a couple of bad moments in this game, this play being one of them. It was off the back of giving up another completion, but this one was a lot more consequential, getting the Ravens down inside the 5 to the 3-yard line. And anytime Derrick Henry has the ball inside the 3, you're not in for a good time. So here we go. 1st and goal from the 3. Derrick Henry takes the ball and, oh, he didn't get in. All right, but he got down to the 1. So just give him another try. 2nd and goal from the 1. Derrick Henry takes the ball and he got stopped again. All right, that was a nice little stop. Nice moment for the defense. But 3rd and goal from the 1-yard line. Derrick Henry again gets the ball and, oh my lord, he got stopped again. Suddenly, we have hope. 4th and goal from the 1. Lamar Jackson takes the ball off the right side, and Jack Campbell with an unbelievable play to not just stop the pass from getting off, not just get hands on Lamar, but forces the ball out. Now, the Ravens did recover, but it was all the way back at the 20. So not only did you just get a goal line stand, but you also get the ball at the 20 instead of your own 1. Back-to-back weeks, this defense has come up with a big short yardage stop. Last week, it was the back-to-back QB sneaks that Tyleik Williams and DJ Reader just decided were not going to happen against them. This week, it's the entire defensive front coming together to get a goal line stand, giving the Lions all the momentum at this point. So we come out, and the offense goes 3-0. And it was inside 2 minutes, didn't take any time off the clock. And then a punt fiasco, another flag, and the Ravens get the ball back on the Lions side of the field. And they make quick work of that, getting all the way down the field, tying the game at 14, going into the locker rooms. Great. Now, we had a close moment. Jake Bates lined up from 67 yards. He didn't miss by much, I'll be honest. He could have got it. He has the leg to do that. Just keep that in the back of your mind for the future. Now, to start the second half, we admittedly had a couple of missed opportunities. The first one being a dropped interception by Brian Branch. And this one stung because it was, just perfect coverage. He jumps the route, hits him in the hands, and he can't squeeze it. Unfortunate. Ravens drive down the field. Derrick Henry tries to pass the ball, and DJ Reed, not to be confused with DJ Reader, drops an interception of his own. The receiver got his hand in there, but another missed opportunity. The Ravens wind up scoring on that drive, taking a 21-14 lead. Fun. So the Lions needed an answer. And there's a funny thing about the Lions offense over the last few years is they've been known for their trickery. And a lot of people, myself included, assumed that a lot of the creativity would be taken away without Ben Johnson because Ben Johnson was one of the most creative minds in the entire NFL, and that's why he got a head coaching gig, is because he's just a very good offensive mind. And obviously, one of his specialties was just being super creative with deployment, and trick plays were an extension of that, of his creativity. So I thought it would be a little bit more reduced this season. Turns out I was wrong. How about the good old-fashioned double pass? David Montgomery gets the toss, tosses it back to Jared Goff, throws it downfield to Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's 17 yards. Let's go. And then the very next play, Amon-Ra St. Brown just hits a little stutter step on Marlon Humphrey. Jared Goff sails one over the top, a perfect throw. And anytime you hit Amon-Ra St. Brown in the hands, he's not going to drop that because he is the most sure-handed receiver in the entire NFL. Then the next drive, the Ravens go 3 and out. A sack by Al-Qadim Muhammad set them back. And by the way, Al-Qadim Muhammad, we'll talk about him later. I haven't been doing a good job of talking about the sacks that have happened in this game. We're going to talk about the kind of overarching performances later. The important thing is the Ravens punt the ball and the Lions have it at their own 4. Once again, the Lions have the ball inside their own 5. What are they possibly going to do? There's no way they could go over 95 yards again to get a touchdown to take the lead, right? Now, everyone knows the Lions have this fantastic running back duo of Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, Sonic and Knuckles as they are known. And I'll be honest, I've been underwhelmed with Jahmyr Gibbs as a runner so far this season. I don't know what it is, but he just hasn't had the same success rate that we're accustomed to. I don't know if the blocks just aren't developing for him. I don't know if he's just not hitting the holes at the right speed at the right time. I don't know what's going on, but he just hasn't quite been Jahmyr Gibbs. He was good in this game, but he hasn't been great. But this is the beautiful thing when you have a running back duo like this, is maybe Jahmyr Gibbs didn't have it tonight. Whatever it is, that's a different conversation. He just didn't quite have it tonight. But David Montgomery, he did. He was finding holes. He was running well. He was picking up 10 yards, good chunks all night. So you know what? Let's give him a few carries. What's the worst that could happen? And David Montgomery just hulking his way through the middle, charging downfield, picks up 72 yards on just an absolute lightning strike of a play for this Lions offense. And to emphasize how backed up the Lions were, David Montgomery ran that ball 72 yards, and they still had like 13 yards to go. So now the Lions working inside the Baltimore 10, they get down to a 4th and 1 from the Ravens 4-yard line. And obviously, come on, it's Dan Campbell. We go for it here in Detroit. It's this crazy phenomenon where you go for the win, you play to win the game. Dan Campbell goes for it. And the Lions, we go back to the creativity earlier, they line up in a strong formation where Jahmyr Gibbs is the back, Amon-Ra St. Brown is the fullback on this play. Jared Goff hands it to Amon-Ra St. Brown, who pitches it over to Jahmyr Gibbs, who runs in for the touchdown, because once you get Gibbs in open space, there's not a soul on this planet that will catch him. There probably is, but not in the NFL at least. He runs it in for the touchdown. The Lions restore the lead. Now the Ravens, they get the ball back. They're working the ball down into Lions territory, but the drive stalls out. Trevor Nowatzki gets a sack, kind of acting as like a delayed blitzer / spy. The Lions didn't use a spy very often in this game, but boy, when they did, it worked out flawlessly. And then he gets sacked again. Derek Barnes getting in on that was a coverage sack. He was dropping into coverage, and then Lamar stepped up, and Barnes came in, finished the play. They hold the Ravens to a field goal. Now, admittedly, that field goal, I'm still not convinced that it went through, but it was like maybe by an inch or two. It would just extend the uprights a little bit, all right? Because it was a little too close to call. So the Lions up by 4, they get the ball back, and they go 3-and-out. They go 3-and-out. Great. Baltimore's going to get the ball back. Great. This is going to end poorly. And you know, I've made the mistake of criticizing Aiden Hutchinson because so far this season, he's just been good, not great. So what does Aiden Hutchinson do? He looks at Derrick Henry and he says, "Welcome!" Aiden Hutchinson with that big punch out forces the ball out from Derrick Henry, who I swear I've never seen fumble like this until this year, but he had the one against Buffalo, the one tonight, he's fumbling all over the place. The Lions recover the ball inside the 20, and we are in business. Now, admittedly, the Lions probably should have taken a 2-touchdown lead at this point, or 2-possession lead, rather. Montgomery got a run. That was a first down to the 5-yard line, but Christian Mahogany gets flagged for a face mask. Very rare penalty for an offensive lineman to get on a run play, but he did do it. So that backs the Lions up. They end up having to settle for a field goal, makes it 31-24. And then on the next drive, the Ravens, now down 7, time is starting to become a little bit of an enemy here, and Aiden Hutchinson works through a double team on first down, gets the sack on Lamar Jackson, and then a couple plays later, Al-Qadim Muhammad with a nice cleanup tackle on third down. Again, it was unbelievable tonight, and the Lions get the ball back again. And then we get back to the situation I alluded to at the start of this video. The Lions get the ball down to 4th and 2 from midfield at the 2-minute warning. And the Ravens had all their timeouts. If the Lions don't get this, the Ravens have the ball at the Lions 49, and they can presumably have an easier time going down the field to tie the game. But you must be new here if you don't think Dan Campbell was going to go for that every single time, because we play for the win. Jared Goff, play action, lofts a beautiful arcing pass from the heavens to Amon-Ra St. Brown. And I told you, if you hit Amon-Ra in the hands, he's going to catch it every single time. First down, Lions. There was a flag on Marlon Humphrey, but who cares? It's declined because Amon-Ra caught it anyways. And now the Lions are down to the 31. We're in business. And then the very next play, David frickin' Montgomery. A 31-yard touchdown run to give the Lions a 2-touchdown lead inside of 2 minutes, and that was all she wrote. The Ravens would add a touchdown in garbage time there at the end. Whatever. I mean, I will criticize the Lions for that final Ravens drive. The 3rd and 26 missed tackle on Justice Hill was horrible. The coverage on Mark Andrews on that touchdown was horrible. Whatever. It was garbage time. It didn't end up mattering. They stopped the 2-point conversion. Cool. Lions recover the onside kick, and they win 38-30. Now let's talk about some individual performances, shall we? First up, that defensive front was unbelievable. 7 sacks in this game. Now, Lamar Jackson, I have it pulled up here. He ran the ball 7 times for 35 yards. For Lamar Jackson, that is a fairly tame game, but he was sacked 7 times for 55 yards of lost yardage. That will absolutely do. You will take that every single time. Now, the star of the show here is Al-Qadim Muhammad, who has been unbelievable to start this season. Last season, when he was picked up off the practice squad, he was just a body. He was just a guy off the street that the Lions needed to throw out there because of all the injuries, and he was fine. He was serviceable, but something has clicked for him in this defense to start this season. He's now up to 3 sacks in 3 games. He has honestly been the Lions' best pass rusher. Now, obviously, Aiden Hutchinson is getting chipped and double-teamed every play, so a little bit of an asterisk with that one. But Al-Qadim Muhammad has had the best pass rush win rate. He's probably had the best pressure percentage. I'd have to go look that up. He's been unbelievable through 3 games, and now that Marcus Davenport is on injured reserve, him stepping up is just so monumental, and I love it. Obviously, I have to mention Aiden Hutchinson as well. For as much as he was just okay for most of the game, when it mattered, he really stepped up. perfect punch out on Derrick Henry, gets a sack the very next play that the Lions are on defense. Unbelievable. He made a game-breaking play, and he was getting pressure throughout the day. He had a fantastic game in his own right. After getting burned on one of the first plays of the game by Lamar Jackson, I thought Jack Campbell had a very nice game. Derek Barnes as well, I thought, had a very nice game. Both of them were doing a fantastic job against Lamar Jackson and containing. Alex Anzalone, happy birthday to him. He got in on a sack. He was doing pretty good as well, had some nice plays in coverage. He did get beat by Mark Andrews for that touchdown, but that was good coverage, just a better throw. Offensively, of course, the absolute star of the game, the player of the game, is David Montgomery. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Only 12 rushes in this one for over 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also had a nice reception earlier in the game that he turned into like a 12-yard game. Knuckles was absolutely fantastic. And not that, Sonic wasn't bad. Jahmyr Gibbs was perfectly fine. But for the standard that he sets for himself, it just wasn't his best day, but he ended up with the yards and the 2 touchdowns as well. Fantastic day from the running game. The Lions had over 220 rushing yards of offense. I think they finished with 225 rushing yards, if I'm not mistaken. Absolutely everything we wanted to see from this ground game against a vulnerable Ravens defense. We saw that they didn't have Matabukwe, they didn't have Kyle Van Noy, and they had been bleeding rushing yards through the first few weeks. We talked about that in the preview if you watched that video the other day, and the Lions took advantage with just so much emphasis, and it was so nice to see. Jared Goff was also good as well, aside from one weird play where he should have scrambled and instead he just threw it in the dirt. But aside from that, his accuracy is best in the league, or one of the best in the league. He's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league, the best pure pocket passer, mainly because he's a statue, but he was unreal in this game as well. The offensive line for the second straight week did not give up a single sack. That's the first time in like 57 games that the Ravens have failed to register a sack. The offensive line was fantastic. Graham Glasgow had some moments in the run game that I was a little sketched about, but Tate Ratledge, fantastic. Christian Mahogany, fantastic. Penei Sewell, fantastic. There was the one play that Taylor Decker just ignored the edge rusher because he got tricked by the blitz and that forced Goff to throw it away, and Goff got walloped on that. But aside from that, the pass protection was fantastic. And so now the Detroit Lions are 2-1, and they will head home to take on a Cleveland Browns squad that did us a big old favor yesterday by beating the Green Bay Packers. The Packers, Vikings, and Lions are now all tied up at 2-1 for the NFC North. Obviously, can't be focusing on the division race this early. The Lions are still technically third because the Packers have the tiebreaker for the head-to-head win, and the Vikings have the tiebreaker because they have the better in-division record. The Lions are 1-1, the Vikings are 1-0, so technically the Lions are third, but it's early in the season, so who cares? That's going to be it for this video, though. Thank you so much for watching. Click like if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you loved it, tell all your friends, ring that notification bell so that you don't miss any future uploads, and I'll see you guys later in the week to preview Browns and Lions, and until then, my friends, cheers.